Hey everybody, this is Larry Everett with Hyperspace Beacon, and what I've got going on today is some news that we've got some leaks from Star Wars The Old Republic, and we want to talk about them because these are some pretty big things that are happening in the game, including an expansion, some new characters, pricing model, and all sorts of really big things. I mean, big, huge, monstrous things that are happening with the game, but I have, because I don't want to do this by myself, and I want to hear another opinion, and we'll go back and forth about this. I do have a guest with me today. I do have Redna from the It's a Trap podcast, which you can also see here on Hyperspace Beacon. How's it going, Red?
Hey, Larry.
You have of course seen and read all the leaks that happened. Actually, let me explain with a little bit of news here, real quick, what happened. On Saturday, there was a leak that basically so Star Wars The Old Republic at SWTOR.com. What they'll usually do is they'll have SWTOR.com / and then the name of whatever the next expansion is, and they'll have all the information that you can possibly know about that expansion, or at least to get you started in the expansion. And somebody found SWTOR.com / fallen-empire, and the community team or whoever was in charge of, or PR team, whoever was in charge of putting that up there, had all the information, minus the pictures, of the next expansion. And obviously, this being the internet, once it's on the internet, it's out there, and it's on Reddit. There are screenshots of it, and so what I'd like to do today is talk about some of that information. There is a lot of information on there. We won't be able to get into it all right now, but there's a couple things I want to talk about. I do want to talk about what's happening with this story, the overarching part of the story, and also I do want to talk about the price model here, and I brought Red on so we can go back and forth on this. First off, I want to talk about the name of your character. So usually you're known as the Sith Warrior, or you're known as the Jedi Knight, or you're known as the the Trooper, and there's always like some kind of word association with it. But you're known as the Outlander, the veteran of the Great Galactic War. What are we talking about here? Are we talking? Does this mean that my first impression is that you're now outside of the Republic, you're outside of the Empire, you're like neither one of them. You are your own faction. Is that what you gathered from this?
Yeah, wasn't there somewhere in here where it actually said that like the Sith and the Jedi were actually retreating to their alcoves or sanctuaries or whatever you wanted to call them?
On Reddit there is, okay, so this is not confirmed by this page, but yes, what you're talking about. Okay, so what you're talking about is there is a rumor going around that the Jedi have retreated to their alcoves, the Sith have retreated to their like small locations, and they're kind of way separate from each other, and the vast galaxy is now being controlled by what I'm assuming is the Empire of Zakuul. Now, I don't. It seems to be something going on with the Empire of Zakuul that has separated them. Now this is just rumor. This isn't news. We don't know this for sure, because this was not on the page. But other than the Empire of Zakuul, that is a name that we do know.
Well, here's the thing. It says, start at level 60. You will become the Outlander, a level 60 veteran of the Great Galactic War, right? So everybody becomes the singular character now? Does that mean they're only going to be telling one story? And whether you're a smuggler or a Jedi Knight or a warrior or an agent or whatever, these things don't matter anymore. Now everybody is I would assume that, okay, you are now the Outlander. RPers are going to hate this because now every single individual in the game is the same. Beyond the fact that I would assume that at level 60, the abilities that you have and what you've trained to become the Outlander will remain the same. So you'll still be a Jedi Guardian or a sniper or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, no, this sounds very strange to me, and also because of the photography and everything, which, granted, is so much speculation. I can't wait to get the real info, but it does very much seem like the Empire and the Republic are kind of withdrawn, and we will all be working together. I'm curious if there's even going to be cross-faction chat or something. It just seems like it seems like they're making huge steps to removing factions entirely.
Exactly, I agree with you. It seems that they're kind of melding the factions, and one of the things that they've said, over the last year, I guess, almost. I mean, since some of the cantinas last year, I think it was like the cantina in September last year, they talked about better than Crossserver. This has been a thing that's been going on. Well, is this, what? Is this part of the better than Crossserver thing that they were talking about? I mean, it actually leads to a whole lot of questions. However, I would like to point out one thing that you mentioned. I mean, is this going to be all one story or whatever? They did mention this, and this is what I'm not sure exactly what this means, and it could mean nothing. It could, but they say your personal saga, play one of 8 class stories, enhanced to offer a deeper, more accessible experience, purely focused on immersing you in a personal Star Wars story. That sounds to me that there's at least going to be nuance based on what class that you played initially, because there are 8 class stories, and vanilla has 8 class stories. So I'm assuming that we're sticking with that as far as that's concerned.
Well, you would expect, nuance and uniqueness could be the simple fact that they're not going to be changing your voice. So you've got, voice actors, right?
Yeah.
That's being way pessimistic. My actual only concern that comes from this is the fact that they're making it really clear, basically an immersive Star Wars story for you as an individual, and you can play all 8 stories. Like, the other thing that it feels like is they're removing the MMO from the RPG. We might all be on the same servers, but it doesn't look like they're doing anything to actually engage us as guilds or groups or parties or anything like this. It sounds like they're really, really trying to push much more of a Mass Effect or Dragon Age style storytelling into our MMO rather than persisting in a traditional MMO direction.
Well, one of the things that, playing off of that, one of the things that they mentioned is that they wanted to focus, that at least last year when they did what was it? It was the Shadow of Revan launch, when they were talking about Shadow of Revan and what they were planning on doing with the future, is that they said they wanted to focus on that class story and how that is what was most important to them, and that this is what drew people into the game, this is what they were good at, and this is what they're focusing on. And I think that I think that that's part of it. And I did want to talk about this when we got into the payment models, but we can go ahead and bring it up here. Is that there is no mention on this page? I'm not saying that there isn't going to be, but there is no mention of anything to do with group content at all. It doesn't mention anything about a PvP map. It doesn't mention anything about an operation. It doesn't mention anything about flashpoints. It doesn't mention
GSF
or GSF or I mean any of the
nothing group mentioned in this
exactly,
except for grouping with new companions and old companions and basically AI running around with you.
Yeah, so I'm that does bring up.
Which I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, they just haven't mentioned it yet or whatever. But the problem is, going into 3.0, they didn't mention PvP or GSF. And lo and behold, we didn't get it. Well, now that they're not even mentioning operations or flashpoints. And
that, I mean, as one of the reasons why I play MMOs, I don't play MMOs to play it solo. I play MMOs as I play it as group content. This is the reason why I play MMOs.
Exactly.
So I can be with friends and play games together. So we can do whatever.
I know that I'm a different type of gamer, but quite frankly, I don't play video games unless I'm playing with my friends.
Yeah.
Period. I cannot remain engaged in a solo experience unless it's really amazing. Like the last standalone game that I remember actually finishing was Tomb Raider. And that's because the story was actually so compelling, and the graphics were mind-bogglingly awesome on my brand new computer rig. But it was a good story, an incredible reboot on what had become a real trope, and while sticking true to its genre. That's the last one I actually got to the end and finished it. Otherwise, yeah, I like to play with my friends, and that's why I play Star Wars: The Old Republic, is because of my friends. And we've seen with 3.0, they added the Jesus bot, where you can do literally any Flashpoint solo, and then the story makes it completely irrelevant to actually do the operations. They give you an opportunity to go through, carry the story, and see the whole story solo, completely independent. They keep doing these. They're moving more and more and more and more into a solo-friendly environment. And at some point, I'm just going to ask, it's like, if you're not giving me endgame content to do with my friends, then why am I playing the game beyond doing the story and then walking away?
And I'm curious if they're not fine with that. And the reason why I say that, and this actually leads into our next topic really, 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 really well, is the payment model of this game is that, first off, let me preface this by saying that there is an early access for anybody that's subscribed between July 31st and October 19th. This is all, again, on this leaked information. So everything that we're saying as far as facts are according to this leaked information. So early access July 31st through October 19th. Then to get real specific, there are certain rewards that you get if you're subscribed during certain times. So I'm going to read this off here. July 31st. Oh, I'm sorry. Nico Orca, Orcar, I think. Nico Okar?
Okar. Yeah.
Okar.
That's how I'd say it.
Yeah, he is if you've seen the Return trailer, he is the smuggler in the Return trailer. So that's who Nico Okar is.
Oh, with the actual hat that doesn't have bonnet flaps?
Right.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I want his hat.
Yeah, all right. So that's who that is. And it says Nico Orcar Companion if you are subscribed by July 31st. Then it says you get Nico Okar's blaster set if you are subscribed by August 31st. And then you get Nico Okar's duster if you are subscribed by September 30th. And I'm assuming that means that all of them are concurrent. So if you're subscribed on July 31st, August 31st, and September 30th, then...
Right, cumulative rewards.
Yeah, cumulative, yes. Yeah, exactly. So I'm assuming that that's what that is. But this is the thing, though. It is free for all subscribers. This is not a paid expansion in the traditional sense. You get the expansion if you're subscribed. And it seems to me that that's kind of paying for it. They're cool with you just playing through the content and then unsubscribing because
it's a really, really valid point, because this model is very much out of the console payment scheme, where basically you buy the game and then they give you DLC and you get little, okay, presumably if this really is going into the epic storytelling and you've got your 8 base class stories and they're going to dive into that. When we launched with the game, we also had 5 companions that we picked up along the way and got some in-depth storytelling with those companions as well. That's exactly what this looks like to me. There are going to be additional companions, and this is DLC. If you're subbed up early, you get multiple companions that will also have additional story tied to them. It seems very much like a tradition. Like Mass Effect is famous for doing just this. You play through the whole story. You've got certain companions, certain romance options, but then a month or two later they drop a DLC pack with a new companion on a different planet that you can go expand upon the existing story. So which is just strange to me, and I think you may be right. I think they're buckling down and they're fine with it. They've neglected PvP for so long because, quite frankly, that's not their concern. It's there, and other than class balance, they're not going to concern themselves with it. They're going to do this, and basically, you can call it an MMO because it is massively multiplayer online, but beyond that, it looks like they're very much going into an RPG.
Because one of the things, and this kind of adds to, kind of, I guess maybe even solidifies what, that the trend that they're going on is they are doing everything in chapters, and they list off at the end of that page. They listed off. They listed off 11 of the chapters, and they say there are 16 of them. I won't go through all the titles right now, but we're talking. The Hunt, A Dream of Empire, Outlander, The Gravestone. There's 11 listed, 16 total is what they say here, and maybe that is their plan. Is that this is going to be, solo focused content. I'm really hoping that they're not going to totally get rid of group content, but it seems to be that there is going to be solo focused content, that the idea is going to be about story, and if you are subscribed to their game, then you can get these stories as they come out, and that seems like what they're going to do. I mean, is that, where are you at?
That's definitely what it feels like.
Yeah.
You could also say, because it says continuous story, this is only the beginning of an evolving Star Wars story, new chapters released on a regular basis. Well, they've promised content released on a regular basis for years. Every MMO does, and none of them ever live up to it, not even the great and glorious WoW,
Yeah.
So this could be that boilerplate, hey, we promise to do better and be more frequent, and then it doesn't. But quite frankly, because of the storytelling and them having buckled down on it, and I do like it. I mean, that's the irony. Like, it saddens me that it looks like they're going in a completely different direction from what I expect from an MMO. However, the most recent story drop was great. It was wonderful. People were boo-hooed that they couldn't get the final cinematic for a week, but quite frankly, I didn't play it at all until it was all available, and playing through it, it was wonderful. And if we can continue to get regular piecemeal drops and everybody understands, hey, it's always going to have a cliffhanger, or it's never going to be resolved. We're going to experience a progressively expanding story. I'm actually okay with that, because I do love Star Wars enough that the story matters that much to me. And if they can continue in the storytelling vein that BioWare is so masterful at, I'm still totally cool with that. I do want to see group content given to us. But quite frankly, I'm okay with that not even being in this story. If they keep pumping out the story and then just give us an operation once a year, I'll be okay with that. It's a different model. A lot of PvEers wouldn't be okay with that. I do think you need to inject end-game regular group content, but it doesn't have to be as frequent as everybody begs for it either.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm totally with you, Red. I think that this is very different than what we've seen in other MMOs. So maybe this isn't an MMO thing, but at the same time, I'm kind of excited about that, because as this to me is maybe BioWare going, oh, guess what? Hey, we're not canon anymore. We are of Legends or whatever. We are Legends, and we're going, okay, let's do it. Let's do whatever we wanted to do, and kind of to hell with canon anymore, because we can do whatever we want. And
they can actually start telling some epic legend mythology type stories.
Yeah.
That. And quite frankly, we know none of this, it's so many thousands of years before the frickin' movies anyway. These could be stories that children tell.
Yeah.
Around the campfire to one another or whatever, and we're playing these epic stories that are going to be passed down from generation to generation, and the facts and the details are completely lost to history, but the thread and the story and the epic, grandiose nature of it, we get to be a part of that. I'm cool with that. And, at first I was like, oh, they finally fundamentally said on... what was it? Star Wars Celebration. They did say, no, this stuff is Legends. But then I realized that gives their writers so much freedom. Yeah. They can literally do whatever they want now. They don't even have to abide by the other Legend stories anymore. They can just tell their own freaking epic Star Wars stories.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. I'm really excited to see where it goes, and we have so much more to talk about. I've got to cut this off, otherwise we can literally talk forever, I think. And
I can't wait for tomorrow for E3 to start up, and we'll come back and keep reporting on it. But yeah. I am really, really excited. Quite frankly, this is like a teaser for me. We don't even know how much truth there is to it, and it does make me really excited about what is going to officially be announced and released tomorrow and throughout the week. Not just for SWTOR either. I mean, they could really be shaking up all sorts of things. We presumably will get more about Battlefront. We'll get more about that mobile game that's coming out, I would assume.
Yep.
There's lots of games in development right now, and I can't wait for all of it.
Awesome. If you want to see more of what Red does, he's on It's a Trap Podcast here and on itsatrappodcast.com. You can follow him on Twitter at R3DN4. Go check out his Twitch channel as well, which is twitch.tv/R3DN4. He has a great Twitch channel where he interacts with the community and talks with everybody and gives away stuff. It's great. Definitely go there whenever it's on. Follow it and find out when it's on. If you want to find out more of what I'm doing, you can follow me at Shadow, SHADDOE. And of course, follow Hyperspace Beacon on Twitter at HSBeacon. On Twitter, I also stream as well on twitch.tv/hyperspacebeacon. Check that out. And like Red mentioned, I'm going to come back later this week, and we're going to talk about more of what was in the leaks. We're also going to talk about on Tuesday what the actual announcements are and all of that, and supposedly there's a new trailer as well. That's a rumor. New
Force
CG.
Awakens?
Yeah, who knows? And the Battlefront, the mobile game. We got all sorts of Star Wars news coming at you. Stay tuned to Hyperspace Beacon, and I'll see you guys soon.